Well, here we are about 24 hours since I made the last video. We're going to do two things in this video. We're going to talk about the books I'm planning on reading this year, and we're going to figure out what their definition of acceptable is. Welcome back to Stormin' Norman Says. I'm Stormin' Norman. That must mean I have some things to say. This package comes from Second Sale. Pretty sure that's the website I bought them from. Not 100%. But y'all must have had y'all's fingers crossed. I said fingers crossed my books would come. And my books came. And I'm a little concerned about what I'm feeling in here. But let's find out. If you ever, I've not really shopped online used bookstores before, but I thought I would give it a shot because I don't know if this is weird or if you're like me. I prefer used books. I prefer a book that somebody has already broken in for me, and like. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here's an example. And this book's kind of big, but see how it's kind of rigid? I like a book that's like floppy. Like somebody already took all the rigidness out of it for me. So instead of buying these on Amazon like I was going to do, and then I was going to buy them on my Kindle, but I was like, I'd kind of like these to be on my shelf. They are used, and because it's like a used bookstore online, who knows how many copies they have. I'm sure they don't take pictures of every single copy. In fact, when I was looking at them, on the website, I'm like, that's just like a stock photo. So I don't know what they're going to look like. And it said acceptable. It said, because I was trying to, it's a trilogy. We'll talk about it here in a second. And I was like, it'd be cool if I could just buy all of them at the same time with the same cover. I don't know if that's what this is. Kind of hoping so. But if not, that's fine too. And, so they're like, hey, get all three of them in acceptable condition. I was like, I don't really know if I want acceptable. Rather have like good condition. But this year, I was thinking, not this year, last year, end of last year, I was thinking to myself that there is a certain franchise. And I have seen the movies, not all of them, but all the popular ones. And I was like, but I've never read the books, and the books are like 100 years old. Kinda, not really, but almost 100 years old. Let's just open it. Be a lot easier to talk about. And they were having a sale. It was buy three, get one free, I think, when I ordered these. So I got the trilogy and an extra one that I tossed in there just to get the free one, because why would you not? Free is great. Get on out of there. And we are reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I already had this. I bought this at Goodwill. I think the year before last, like 2023, I was at Goodwill and I seen this and I was like, I've never read that. I'll grab it. I've seen the first movie, but I haven't seen the second and third movie. So I've been reading this. I started reading this week before last. And I'm over halfway done. It's a super awesome book. I love it. And when I started this, I was like, I should just read the whole trilogy. I've never read the whole trilogy. I've I've watched all the movies several times, but I've never read the whole trilogy. And if you're a reader, the book's better than the movie. I don't think I've ever seen a movie based on a book where I was like, well, that was better than the book. Because the book can put more stuff in there than the movie can. So these are not two of them. Two of them are the same cover, but they're pretty close. It looks like these two are based on the movie because the cover is movie pictures. Fellowship of the Ring. Got Frodo on there. The Two Towers. You got Orlando Bloom, whatever his character was called. And then Return of the King. This looks like an older one because it just has that. I love these type of covers from like the 80s and 90s. Soft spot in my heart. The first novel I ever read. Like when that moment where you graduate from reading like children's or like preteen kind of books. When I was a kid, I read all the time. My grandma would get me Hardy Boys. She'd get, I don't remember how many she'd get me at Christmas time every year, but then I would read them throughout the year. She'd get me like 5 or 6 of them, and I would read them throughout the year, and then she'd get me 5 or 6 more for the following Christmas, and I'd read those throughout the year. But the first time I ever stepped up to an adult novel was I read Jurassic Park in 1993. The movie was coming out. I don't think it was out yet. And I went to the store and I saw the book, and I already knew the movie was coming. And I saw the book and I was like, I want to read it. So I grabbed it. We went on vacation that year. I think we went to Tampa for Busch Gardens and SeaWorld. We went down there summer vacation, and I took that book with me and read it on the trip down there and the trip up. And that was my first novel that I read, like big boy novel. So I've been reading like a madman since then. But when you get to be an adult, and especially with the invention of the internet taking off and social media and whatnot, I find myself on this computer a lot. Like a couple years ago, it's probably been more than a couple years ago now, probably more like 10 years ago, I read like 10 books in a year, which I know there's people that read more than that, but I was like, I kept track of it. And like I was reading through Tom Clancy books, like all the Jack Ryan books and stuff like that, and read a bunch of Stephen King books. Like Stephen King as a person, not necessarily my favorite person, but as a writer, he's a big inspiration on me there. But last year, my goal, I talked about it in a previous video, my previous goal was to read 5 classics, and I did that. And this year I was like, what's my goal going to be for 2025 for reading? I was like, let's read the Lord of the Rings books. And since I already had The Hobbit, which is kind of the prequel, I started with this. And then as soon as I finished this, like when I got into this a little bit, I was like, okay, this is really good. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and order the other one so that when I finish this one, I can jump right in to these ones. So this is their definition of acceptable condition, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. I would probably personally label these as good condition. So if these are what they call acceptable, then what they call good condition must be pretty good. So I like their inventory system too. It's pretty cool. So even though they don't all have the same cover, I would have liked it if they all had the same cover. They're in good shape. This one's got a dog-eared cover. It's a little wrinkled, dog-eared. That's kind of annoying. But I can live with it. And I was hoping these were the bigger ones, like this, because I like this size. I like the font size in it. I was worried to get these small ones with the smaller font in them because I ain't as young as I used to be, and I gotta wear these things. But I'm fine with it, especially the price I paid for them. These were, I don't remember, where's the thing? Let's see if I got a receipt or something in here. Don't look like I do. Anyway, I don't remember how much I paid for them. But altogether, it had to be less than $20 for all 4 of these books. Which I should probably mention the fourth one. I got Fahrenheit 451 from Ray Bradbury, because I read 1984 last year, and I figured I like, you know, dystopian books, especially post-apocalyptic, which this ain't that, but it is dystopian, and I like that. So I figured if it was buy 3 get 1 free, you might as well toss another one in the cart. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, pretty happy with these. I think by far the best one, this is probably the worst one as far as condition goes. Not terrible, but this one is pretty good. There's not even any wrinkles in the spine. So this is probably the best one out of the bunch. But, and then this would probably be like the second best one, because this is in pretty good shape, especially considering that it's from like the 90s, probably, judging by this cover. Let me see if it's got a, so 1992. So for a book made in 1992, this one's in pretty good shape. It's got the wrinkles on the spine that lets me know she's good and broke in. I don't have to worry about it. And these two, alright, this one don't have an updated. They must have just updated the cover. But when did the Lord of the Rings come out? Early 2000s, late 90s? So this one's at least 25 years old. Possibly. These two are. 2001. 2001. So these are 24 years old. This one's like 30 something years old. And they're in pretty decent shape. So looking forward to jumping into these. As soon as I finish The Hobbit, we'll jump into these. And I'm super excited. Finally read through that. I like that I've been checking off these books. Like last year I read all them classics. And we're going to read classics again. We ain't done. I got Oliver Twist up here on the shelf. And I got Animal Farm, George Orwell. So I got some other classic books to read. And one day, like, I'll get all my books in one place. And I probably got some more classics. But I don't know where all my books are. Some of them are out there. Some of them are in the closet there. This closet. They're everywhere. But that's it. That's my reading plans. What is your reading plans? What are you reading this year? What is a book that you're looking forward to reading and finishing this year? Even if it ain't a classic, drop it down there in the comments and let me know. And I reckon that's all I got to say. 2 videos in 2 days. Y'all are just spoiled rotten. So it is currently 35 degrees outside. It's already snowing in the Panhandle. Hopefully it stays over there. But because if I wake up in the morning and there's snow on the ground, I'm going back to bed. Anyway, I have been Stormer Norman. I have said things. Have a good night.